Hey, everybody, it's Louie and the retelling of the story. In this video, I'm gonna tell you the love story of a boy and his maid. Meet these teenagers named Phil and Sherman. They're both 15 years old and they're secretly watching their older brother's party from a safe distance at the party. The party is also attended by Sherman's sister Joyce. Her boyfriend jumps in the pool with her. Into the pool with her after a swim to go to the bathroom to change into Phil. Sherman sneaks up to the window and starts spying on her. But their surveillance is interrupted. Phil's teacher says that at their age, it's common for boys to be interested in girls. The teacher tells him that they should be friends with peers, but Phil likes older girls. Phil's father is a successful business, so their house is surrounded by a lot of servants. Phil noticed that his father hired a new maid. Her name is Mello and she's very beautiful. The next day, Phil's father goes away on business and instructs his driver, a handyman, to look after his Lester's not happy about the news because he doesn't like his boss's spoiled son on the same day. The same day, Mello sits down with Phil and talk to him. She asks him what the housewives around here do and how do they. Phil admits that all the maids are old except for her, telling Mila that he'd be more interested in talking to her than the other maids, and if he wanted to, he could go to her at any time to talk to her for loss or understandable feet. The maid girl notices this. He begins to tease the young man until he lives in a restless state. A little later loops, the driver leaves for work in Thessaly. The boy is not confused and rushes into Therum. Chalky started going through her underwear lingerie machine sheet. Wants a girl with his got a plan, and he's gotten dirt on the maids, so the girl agrees to do his bidding the same night. Phil and his buddy decide to watch Perry dressing Mello, but he notices it and turns off the lights. Goes on for days. Phil gradually begins to fall in love with his maid. The next day, Phil tries to peek into the girl's room. Note grabs him by the arm and asks him to come in. Mello says, "If you want to see me naked, why didn't you say so?" Right away she asks the guy to close the door. Takes off his clothes one by one until he's completely naked. Nafila is overcome with excitement. The girl offers to touch her, but Guy is visibly nervous and they go away. The next day, Soap tells Phil Thatch is coming to see him tonight. They tell Sherman about their meeting. The night the guy comes to visit Sweetie, he sees her in the bathroom. The girl doesn't asking him to join her. Phil refuses at first, but the girl manages to persuade him to join her in the tub. Mello tries to seduce him, but Phil gets nervous and makes up excuses to leave quickly, but girl stops him and suggests she should be closer to each other. The next day, Phil tells his friend about his trip to the bathroom. I laugh. Sherman comes to the conclusion that she's willing to get intimate so easily, but Phil doesn't like it because he's in love with her. That same night, Phil takes the mailman to a movie theater. The girl tries to flirt with Hyman the way home. She even kisses his hand. Lester notices it when he gets home. Phil confesses his feelings for her. He loves her and wants to marry her, but the girl admits that because of the big age difference, they can't make it work, and starts to feel bad because he thinks that the girl doesn't love him, and in a state of anger he leaves her. The next day they tell this situation. Cher's mom is making fun of him. Bakehouse say you can't tell a girl about marriage and before intimacy. Phil can't stay away from Mello and to ignore Mello and asks his sweetheart out on a date. She says yes, I don't go to a restaurant. They have a mutual flirtation at dinner. When they get home, they don't decide to get intimate relationship, but when Phil touches the milk, starts screaming, and faints. The scared guy tries to bring her to her senses, Budo no avail, and if he thinks she's dead. The scales Leica told him that she has a heart condition. The guy realizes he's caused the girl's death, so he runs to get help from the tester. As we leave the room, we realize that Mello played dead. Phil brings her to Lester, who checks her out. She says the girl's dead and accuses of killing his maid. Lester decides to call the police. But Phil stops him with the words that he'll do whatever the old man wants. Don't tell the police about it, Lester hangs up the phone and says they need to get rid of the girl's body, so they put you in a big bag and put you in the refrigerator. So the body doesn't spoil. Then they go the garden and dig a grave, and then they carry the whole LA. Grave. Lester says the body got too heavy, but the girl wasn't really there. She crawled out while they were digging the grave. Lester and Phil take the bodies to the grave. The next day, the couple notices that the grave of the dug-up hole has been stolen, and he discourages him, and he goes on this Nusto Fleece's quest. He doesn't know anything about it. A letter is brought to them saying that if they want the body back, they have to pay $10,000 otherwise. Otherwise, the body will be turned over to the police later. Someone calls and says they saw him digging graves at night. Urgently needs to hand over the money. Phil steals $10,000 and a safe from his father, puts the amount in the place mentioned in the note. Lester takes the money and goes to his home where Mello is waiting for him. Her real name is not stolen. We find out that she is the immigrant. Lester knows her secret. The girl thinks it's wrong to take advantage of a guy, but Lester threatens and that if she doesn't stop listening to him, he's gonna tell her finger and that she's in the country illegally, having an affair with a 15-year-old boy, and that it's a big crime. He's scared. Nicole is shutting up. Lester's ordering the girls to hide in his hotel room, but Nicole senses she's in love with Phil, decides to come to him. He sees the girl. The guy's alive. He's pretty scared of Nicole. They stop him and tell him the Halith truth is actually power and blackmailed her and didn't give her a choice. Well, now he's with Phil. Phil says that they need the money back, but the girl doesn't know where he's hiding it, so they devise a plan to trick the sisters into giving the money back. In the morning, Nicole turns to her friend, her tennis coach friend Jack. She just wants you to play the role of his fudge a cop, and he agrees. Jack goes into Phil's house and shows him an officer's license, and he starts questioning him about the tract that killed Nicole. The officer finds evidence and says was told that Nicole was killed by Lester. Lester starts to panic and wonders if Nicolese is alive in the hotel, and he also reveals her real name. The officer says if you don't bring her alive in 2 hours, he'll arrest the Lesters for the girl's murder. Goes to the hotel. I'm supposed to. Nicole comes inside. He realizes that something has gone. He has no choice but to come up with a plan to get out of town with the money. Phil saw it coming. I didn't follow the cars. Lester's car is on its way to the workout at the airport. Lester bumps into that Philawo's back from his trip with them. Phil joins them with Jack and Nicole. Alistair tries to run away, but Phil snatches his bag of money. Phil doesn't tell him anything. They're not telling him about the money. LSR isn't talk about Nicole's past. Phyla and Nicole's romantic. Alastair continues to work as a driver. Nicole admits to Phyla that she also quit her job because her father will find out about their affair and the police will arrest her. But she wants to keep seeing him. The next day, and when Phil leaves, goes to his school and meets one of the hottest teachers and asks her out on a date, and she unconditionally acts.